No half stepping. What's up? What's up?
What's up? We live. We live. We live.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, we live.
What's the biz?
Nothing much, man. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Got some sad news in the sports world today.
But
Franco
before you
Harris,
get into that
Steelers
sad news,
legend,
Jones,
passed away today at the age of 72. Gone. Steelers great, man.
and he made the Immaculate Reception in 1972.
That's it. And coming up this Saturday is the 50-year anniversary of
Yep,
their catch. So what? I think that was the 72 divisional playoff. Yeah,
that's correct. That's correct because it was December 23rd, 1972, and so uh, neither team went to the Super Bowl because that was the Dolphins' undefeated season. Pittsburgh ran into that buzzsaw next week.
yeah, I remember. I remember hearing that. I guess the press at the time was like the best team was in Miami at that time, and the winner of this game was really not going to do much. And that ended up turning into a Dolphins victory at that time. But it was a good game, and you really think about just like the analogs of football, the history of football. It basically started with Steelers and Raiders. It really did.
Uh, well, for the Super Bowl era,
Uh-huh.
but pre-Super Bowl, Pittsburgh is one of those original NFL teams. Pittsburgh was a bottom of the barrel team, and once they got Chuck Noll, drafted Joe Green and Ham, Lambert, Swan, all that came together. All that came together in the
That's
'70s.
true.
Well, it started in the late '60s.
That's true. That's true. Super Bowl era. That's good context. Super Bowl era. I think before then you had a lot of teams that kind of had a run with it. Um, but yeah, that's absolutely right. That's absolutely right.
I think a lot of people don't realize how good Franco was, man. He led the league, led the league in rushing touchdowns with in '76, and he's actually ranks third behind Walter Payton and Jim Brown as far as rushing touchdowns.
Isn't he
And
behind
and,
Marcus
and
Allen?
over
I think he
no, he's
behind.
third. No, he's third.
He
He
is.
should
Yeah,
he
he's
should
third.
be behind
Yeah,
Marcus Allen, LT, uh, Emmett, Walter, and Jim Brown.
because what I saw,
Because
because
Franco only has
Greeny,
91 rushing touchdowns.
right? Okay, because stat I saw, he was ranked third behind Jim Brown and Walter Payton. It
Hmm.
might have been touchdowns, um, but yeah, this was an iconic play, man. I remember asking my dad about it, and he actually became a fan because of that play.
Hmm.
And it's just this play will live forever, man.
You will, and I can hear
Juice, you
you.
sound like the classic Steeler fan.
And
First
I.
off, it was illegal touching by Fuqua down the field. He touched the ball. Number two, the ball hit the ground. So, as a Raider, that's where I'm gonna go with it.
Greasy, that ball did not hit the ground, man. It
Oh,
did
okay.
not.
Oh, okay. Okay. Oh Lord.
Yeah. I wish both teams was in the midst of the playoff run this week. That'd be
They
too
are.
much like right.
They are. They're in the hunt. They are still in it.
No,
Both
I
teams. That's
mean,
what I'm saying.
no, I mean like 2, 3, 4, like
Oh,
playoff.
okay.
Yeah, like number one seed type stuff on the
Mm.
line, man. It would just be poetic justice. But this
Oh,
is
that would
just
be.
no sports show. The fellas, the crew, you know what it is. You know what we do. You know how we do it. We just in this thing chopping it up. We got it in the last couple of weeks with the whole Prime and all that good stuff that was going on. Getting ready to wrap up the year, man. 2022 just it's over, man. Just like that.
Mm.
It's a done deal. And next week's show, we're gonna jump knee deep into the college football semifinals. TCU and Michigan. Then we got Georgia and Ohio State and a bunch of other meaningless 50,000 bowl games between here and then that I'm not gonna watch. Man, college football is ridiculous as I take a look at Michigan and North Carolina. It's just the fact that you're looking at Michigan and North Carolina like right now, and these are two teams that could very well be in the Sweet 16, and everybody in college basketball in the top 25 and played each other 3 times over, like a round robin type thing. And college football forces the SEC game of the week down your throat every week, and you never really know anything until right about now. And NCAA, what I really like about the NCAA is they give you tournaments at the beginning of the year, then you go to the conference play, then you got the conference tournaments, then you got the big ones. So I'm all on that. I'm all on it. I'm all on it.
Yes, sir.
I think we've had this conversation before when it comes to college basketball. And what I don't understand is why can't football get it right? I mean, I know everybody want during the BCS, everybody complained about that, and everybody wanted a playoff. And now that we've had a playoff, for the last 4 or 5 years, people are still not satisfied. So
I
what
think they got it
what
right
the
this
college
season, Juice. It finally shook out this year. It finally shook out. Because if you think about it, fellas, like, which teams do y'all think would have been deserving to get up in there right now?
Everybody that's in.
Yeah, everybody's in,
Yeah.
basically.
The truth of the matter is, this is the first time that it actually worked exactly how it was supposed to work.
Exactly. Yeah.
With no bias. And I mean,
Yeah.
I could sound like a hater with no bias toward Alabama.
Get it out of here. Like
with no bias toward Alabama. Like, it really worked out to where no matter what, they would have had to really explain themselves as to how in the world they put Alabama in the top 4 with 2 losses. They would have really had to tell us something. It'd have been too much smoke behind them putting them up there, no matter what. So I actually like how it worked out. It worked out that the teams that should have went are going.
And I think we've seen the last of Alabama. That's what it is. That's over. All good things must come to an end. I think Saban saw it. He looked over the mountaintop, not to reference MLK, but I think he's seen it on the horizon with this NIL thing and kids that can hit the portal. I think that's over. I don't think we're going to be really doing too many Alabama games next season. As a matter of fact, Greg, King, would you like to get into that about how many 5 stars and 4 stars they lost?
They lost a lot. You know what? Not just Alabama. Oklahoma lost a lot. And then, like, these people are leaving. And the reality of this situation is we need this. We need people to understand that you don't have to load up and sit behind 5 guys. You don't have to wait till your junior year to get on the field anymore. There are plenty of schools out there that are good, that are talented, that you could be seen at, and you don't have to wait 3 years to play. You don't have to go to a school. I mean, I get it. The glitz of winning the glitz and glamour of winning a national championship. That's all fine and dandy. But if that's your end game, and your end game isn't to get to the NFL, because most players that are playing at that level, we want to go to the NFL. So you have to really decide, do I want to go to the NFL or do I want to play for an attempt to win a national championship? Because everybody's not going to win a national championship. I can't tell you the countless numbers of schools that are out there, but there's only going to be one champion.
Right.
And if we paid attention to college football, the majority of those championships have come from the SEC.
Facts.
So
I think it brings parity.
And
just
and, I-
like
and I like it.
the
And I like
NFL.
it. I like that it's bringing parity. I like that it's making some of these smaller teams a lot stronger. Let's
Yeah.
see what it's really about. Because to be honest with you, not too many of these 4 and 5 star athletes really pan out to continue to be 4 and 5 star athletes once they get to college, bro. Once you hit the college scene, it's like you just another dude that's cold because there's 7 other cold dudes at your spot right now. Like you are no longer the man. Like some people go from high school. It's very few that can go from high school and go to college and be the man when they get on the campus. I mean, I once heard Percy Harvin talk about his trip to when he went to Florida. Percy Harvin steps on the campus like, shh, I do this. But then when he get on campus, there's 5 other wide receivers that run a 4.240. What you talking about, Percy? Speak to me. What you mean? You hell, you think I'll put in Fred over here. Fred gonna do the same thing you gonna do. Now what? So that 4 and 5 star stuff, I ain't gonna lie to you. It's cool and all, but it ain't always impressive. I
It's,
mean,
it's,
how many guys if you watch in college, you be like, ooh, and then you be like, And I'm gonna pick on you, Doc. Your boy from Georgia. Your boy from Georgia. I done forgot his name.
Jordan Davis.
But he was not that dude.
Jordan Davis.
Was it him?
Which
That we
one?
that was it the Georgia guy? It was somebody that defensive lineman that you was like, man, you was sold on
Yeah, I think you're talking about Jordan Davis.
it.
Hold on,
But he
hold
didn't
on, hold
pan
on,
out
Well,
like
he's been
Jordan.
hurt though. He's
hold
been
on,
hurt
hold on,
though.
hold on.
He's been hurt though.
He's
Yeah.
the whole reason the Eagles went and got Lindell Joseph and Ndamukong Suh. The Eagles was giving up 2.1 yards per rush before he got hurt. And when he got hurt, they started getting gas, so they had to go sign all these veterans to come show up the defensive line.
No. I'm talking about when he was in college.
Oh, well, when he was in college, he only had one bad game, Dre, and that was because Alabama ran
I mean, was it
no
was it
huddle.
Jordan? It was somebody else then. I'm gonna find the guy. It was a defensive lineman we were talking about,
You
and
mean, you mean N'Kobe Dean,
it could be. I don't know. It could be him.
the linebacker?
Nah, it was a defense. It was a defensive lineman guy, and it was just like he wasn't that guy. Like, nah, it ain't him. It was like it was looking like it was supposed to be him, but nah, it wasn't him.
It
But
was on.
the moral of the story is, it's a lot of guys that go to the college on the college level that are 5 star athletes and just become regular athletes once they get to college because there's so many other talented guys there that they just
Well,
fit right on in. So
well,
that
I,
Hey
five-star
Dre.
is
Hey Dre,
overrated.
help me out. Who how do they come how do they figure out if you're 3, 4, 5 star? Who does that? Like is it
Camps.
the
It's it's
coaches? Like
it's,
who
it's
does
the
it?
it's the it's the camps that you go to. You go to
Okay.
these camps, people evaluate you and rate you, and then it's the certain camps that you do go to. Like take for instance, you got
Gotcha.
the Peyton Manning quarterback camp. Well, yeah, if you went
Mhm.
to Peyton Manning quarterback camp, you're gonna be over there with the people that's gonna be the top notch cream of the crop. So yeah, you can get rated that way. You went to that camp. So if you're going to camps like that, you're probably going to the other big camps, the FBU camps, things of
Mhm.
that nature. And that's how people rank you, and then they follow you. And it's really just about going to those camps and getting your name out there and getting yourself on film. And that's really
Your,
how I break down, man.
your nephew Marcus, what was he? What how many stars was he?
He was Davidson's 5 star recruit.
Oh,
Did you hear what
okay.
I said? I would say it again.
Davis is
He was Davidson's 5 star.
Davidson's 5 star.
But as far as anything else, yeah, I couldn't tell you. I don't even think he was a 1 star recruit.
Wow. Okay.
But did you hear what I said though?
No, you
Shout
said
out,
Davidson's 5 star.
shout out to Coach Abel, head coach at Davidson, who flat
Yeah.
out said he's our 5 star recruit.
Gotcha.
So in other words, he
Mhm.
didn't have to have no stars for Davidson. He put the Davidson put the stars on him. So
Oh,
you don't have to. That's like I said, it could be great. It could pan out, but sometimes the mess is overrated. How
uh,
many 4 and 5 star athletes did Texas A&M recruit
right,
in
which was
the
a,
past
mhm.
10 years, and we ain't seen nothing?
that's a perfect example
And
because
not,
I
and,
was I was just about to lead into how Miami got another top 3 recruiting class. It takes time for these things to materialize. It's more than just gathering names and depth
yeah,
and thinking it's going to work. It don't. That's not how it works.
And that wasn't a shot at your Aggies either, Juice. It was just easy to pick on them because I mean I
Oh
ain't even going
no,
with
I
this year.
got you.
I'm not even going with this year with being the number one
Yeah.
top recruit. That don't mean crap, bro.
No, I
That
hear
means
what you're
nothing,
saying.
man.
Yeah.
These people still have to perform.
Yeah. They gotta earn it, man. Some of these kids come in here, they since they come in with these labels being 4 and 5 star, and they think they're gonna come in and it's gonna be easy. And they still gotta work. So
Well,
I understand.
it's all good, man. Nonetheless, the playoff picture is great. We got the Final Four and the college football championships, and we got the NFL playoff push. Man, people still fighting. To believe it or not, me and Greasy were talking, and I have a strange feeling that a team with a losing record is gonna get in the playoffs. And the
Yeah,
last time
Grizzly
that
was saying
happened,
that last. Grizzly was saying that when we was talking about rewind. He was saying
yeah,
that he
man,
thinks.
it's gonna be a team
Yeah.
with a losing record in the playoffs, and that goes back to what the Saints and the Seahawks, right?
Right.
When Marshawn Lynch,
Probably gonna be Tampa Bay. I think they're still in control for a first for 6-8.
yeah,
I
that
mean,
division sucks.
yeah, that
Yeah,
division is trash. But me and Greasy was talking just about just in modern football, the Super Bowl era is kind of like the whole thing started with Steelers and Raiders and how it would be poetic justice if the Steelers and Raiders were fighting for a top 2 or 3 seed in the AFC with the 50-year anniversary of the Immaculate Reception coming
yeah.
along. And that would be some little cold weather up in Pittsburgh, I'm sure. But yeah, that would be pretty nice, man. But nonetheless, Franco Harris did pass away today, and Steelers Nation is feeling the loss right now. I remember him vaguely just watching the NFL films with John Facenda and Steve Sable back in the day. That's the original dynasty, man. And I know a lot of people get into the what if this team played, what if this team played. I think for that time the Steelers were. I
Steel
mean,
curtain.
that's what it was. I mean, they had 4 Hall of Fame defensive linemen. Joe Green was the first bad boy up front. He invented a lot of the stunts and stuff we see. The cover two that the Tony Dungy. He learned that under Chuck Noll. A lot of the stunts and a lot of the wide nine. A lot of that stuff originated in Pittsburgh. A lot of the crossing of the 2 tech and the 3 tech, the defensive lineman stunting and all that stuff. A lot of that started with Pittsburgh and Franco Harris in the running game, and it's kind of you look at the Steelers. The first 2 teams was Franco, Blyer, and the defense. Franco got a little up in age. They didn't really run the ball as well, and they went more to a passing offense. But nonetheless, he like kind of like the founding father of the NFL dynasty, what we know of it as today.
Mm.
I can agree because I would love to scratch Vince Lombardi, even though his name on the trophy. They didn't keep that rolling. Yeah, they were dominant in the '60s, but the majority of that was pre-Super Bowl era. But had it kept rolling, it would roll into the early '70s, and that's when you saw the Cowboys emerge and the Dolphins, the Raiders, and just everybody, and them Steelers, them Super Steelers. I remember Super Bowl 14. Uh, well, I didn't actually see it. I viewed it. I was only 2 years old. Might have just made three, but it was something about those Steeler teams and Franco and Rocky and uh, especially with Franco, good solid runner. You know, along, and maybe that might have been the original 1-2 punch in the backfield with him and Rocky Blair and but what made that Steeler team really go, even when the offense was sputtering, um, was the defense. Um, Defense can make some plays for them. whether it was Ham, Lambert, or I forgot the it's on the tip of my tongue. Andy Russell. They can make plays. Um, they played some great Cowboy teams, and the Steelers, like Doc said, they were the original dynasty. They ruled the '70s, and coming from a Raider fan, we only beat them in one AFC Championship game, one, and that was the '76 season. Other than that, uh, Raiders and Steelers were something to see. It was much must-watch TV back in the '70s. Each team was claiming had a bunch of thugs, little unnecessary stuff, whether it was Branch getting dumped on his head or they dumped Lance Swan on his head. They were so, I think these teams were so identical, it was ridiculous. And they didn't know that. But they were quick to point the finger about how dirty each one was.
It was like a grudge match. I mean, both teams were so similar in style of play, and I mean, it's not a coincidence that they were both, you know, heated rivals. I mean, that was, way before, when you think of rivalries with the Steelers now, you think of Ravens and Steelers, but the original was the Raiders and Steelers. So, but I mean, I'm excited to see them play on Saturday. Um, so it's going to be a somber moment, but I think the Steelers will, win one for Franco.
I think the Raiders still need to win one for Cliff. Yes, sir. And not only that, as you even look at the coaches, both two Hall of Fame coaches, Chuck Noll, Madden with the highest winning percentage of any in NFL history of any coach, including Belichick. That's with a minimum of 100 games. You look at the players, as we spoke on. Now, it's easier for Steelers to get into the Hall of Fame, but when it comes to the Raiders, and I'll add one more team, the Cowboys, it's hard for their players to get in. But the Steeler players, if Branch just getting into the Hall of Fame, when you pull up the numbers with Swan and Stallworth, Branch outshines both of them statistically. And then they go to the Super Bowls. Stallworth and Swan has 4. Branch has 3. What's the difference? But one. You have these debates. We have these teams, even NFL rules. Doc always referred to Mel Blount. This is the reason why you got that little 5-yard cushion now. You could jam him up because remember when Blount played, he can go all the way down the field and do what he wants to you. But this dude was just too long, too big, and the rules had to change. Then we got the Lao Zeta rule, even though this came in the 80s. You can't use your helmet as a weapon. Whether it's the tuck rule. Now they did away with the tuck rule. That's no good.
Hey, that was a bullcrap rule. Hey, look here. Yeah, we ain't gonna skip over that one. I know that was Michigan versus Michigan, but y'all know how I feel about Charles Woodson, baby. That was a strip, sack, fumble recovery. Raiders should be going to Super Bowl. Period.
Yep.
They cheated for Tom Brady.
I find it so ironic that you got the Immaculate Reception and then you got the tuck rule, and both teams involved in that game were Raiders. Like, I feel like that's gotta be that's gotta hurt, Greasy. What do you say about that?
Well, the Raiders have been involved in the majority of the most memorable games in NFL history, whether it was Immaculate Reception, the tuck rule game. We had the ghost to the post against the Colts. We had the Holy Roller. I mean, the list goes on with the Raiders. We had the Lido fumble against the Broncos in the 77 AFC Championship game, which the Raiders, that would have been the dream matchup, Raiders versus the Cowboys. We had the Sea of Hands game where the Raiders, Clarence Davis caught the touchdown final seconds against the Dolphins, and many said that was the Super Bowl at that time. But the Raiders fell short the following week to you know who.
Hey,
I'm
who
like,
is
you know,
who is you know who?
the Steelers.
Oh, okay. I just
The
wanted to say
Steelers.
that's all.
And we also had the mistake by the lake. And RIP to him. He just passed away. To where Brian Syke threw an interception in the end zone. The conditions were so bad that Cleveland couldn't even kick a field goal in that divisional playoff game. And Brian Syke threw Mike Davis, who they called him Stonehands, couldn't catch a cold. He caught that interception. And that was the 1980 season, and the Raiders were the first wild card team in NFL history to win a Super Bowl as they defeated the Philadelphia Eagles 27-10 down there in New Orleans. So the Raiders have been in very memorable games. The majority of the games that stick in people's mind and that NFL films recognize.
Yeah. Can you imagine if they had a replay back then?
Oh, well, if they had replay that Lido fumble against the Broncos in the AFC Championship, the Raiders would have played. That was the day I was born, January 15th, 1978. The Raiders would have been playing the Cowboys down there in New Orleans. And the Cowboys made quick work of the Broncos. It was just turnover city. I think the Raiders probably would have beat Doomsday that day. Because that would have made them back-to-back. They would have won back-to-back Super Bowls. But they fell short in that AFC Championship game against Denver.
Well, as much as I love that whole thing, that whole play, man, I was listening to a interview with John Madden. He said he was going to go to his grave saying that they got cheated, and it's just crazy. I mean, I don't know what to say, but
well, Juice, I gave you the story of that game. The Raiders, they like to stretch the field. Mysteriously, overnight before that game, there was a rip in the tarp. That rip in the tarp caused the field to freeze up. So Cliff Branch couldn't do his thing outside because it wasn't nothing but ice outside.
Oh, I see.
And so the Raiders, that's why the score ended up being 13-7.
Hey, you do know that both teams played on that same field, right?
Exactly. Yeah. But like Mr. Davis said, the Raiders game was, the long ball. How you gonna throw a long ball in this ice on the outside of the hash marks?
I mean, how you gonna throw the other team threw the long ball?
Well, that wasn't really the Steelers' game. That wasn't really their game. Cliff was the most dangerous person in NFL in the 70s. You had to respect that speed and them hands.
So it wasn't the Steelers players; it was the turf.
Well, yeah, it was the turf.
I mean, who was locking down? Somebody had to be locking down Cliff Branch. Who was? Well, I mean, I'm sure it was Mel Blount was following him all over the field.
Couldn't nobody hold Cliff Branch.
I think the closest thing we saw to that live where we could really, really comprehend what's going on would probably be early 2000, like Ravens Titans type of rivalry thing where the Titans just couldn't beat Baltimore. Two good defensive teams. The strength of the Raiders was the vertical passing game and the offensive line. The strength of the Steelers was the front four. and the running game. So it was just kind of like, it's just, it is what it is. I'd like to see a 30 for 30 with just those, what was that, 3 years in a row? AFC Championship game.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to see a
Yeah.
30 for 30 on that one. A lot of those players, the Snake is gone, Tatum is gone, Franco gone. I think Greenwood gone. These boys, I mean, these men getting up in age. Mike Webster gone. A lot of those guys have moved on. And
Mm-hmm.
Upshaw passed away.
Yep.
Upshaw, yeah, he's
Yeah,
gone.
Upshaw.
we
Is
lost Upshaw.
Blitnikoff still alive?
But Littlencroft still
Yes,
living.
Okay.
yeah,
Freddie's
Freddie's
still
still
living.
around.
Okay.
Clarence Davis, the running back, he passed on. Tatum gone. Like I said, a lot of those guys are moving on. But that would be a good look. So I wouldn't mind seeing an ESPN 30 for 30 on the Steelers and Raiders because
And they might run one
they,
since the passing of Franco. They might run it.
they absolutely went at it. But they like I said, they went at it and they even went to court at one point over over
Exactly.
that over
Criminal.
that
Exactly.
over that robbery. They went to court over it. But we ain't gonna hold y'all too long. We just decided we'd jump on here tonight and then shoot the breeze a little bit, real quick, a little barbershop talk. Rest in peace, Franco Harris, Steelers legend, the immaculate reception. Ball bounces off Frenchie Fuqua. Franco scoops it up and he's galloping down the sideline amongst a sheet of ice to get that AFC divisional game, 1972. Steelers 13, Raiders 7. But y'all don't forget to check us every Friday night, 8 p.m. That's Anchor FM, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. Heck, we everywhere. I seen Podbean, Bean Pod, Cast Pod. I've seen us everywhere. Google us, Google yourself sometimes. Yellow Major says. So we just popping all up on this thing, but like I said, next week we're gonna get into it, man. I'm ready to see what's finna go down in these college football semifinals. Like I said, I'm not really even gonna sit up here and try to flex like I'm finna watch the
The
Nabisco,
potato
yeah,
chip bowl.
yeah, the Nabisco Dollar Tree Girl Scout Cookie Samoan Bowl. I just ain't watching it. Like I'm a traditionalist. I want the orange rose and sugar. Maybe throw me in the faster, maybe throw me in the cotton and see what happens. But now everybody with 6 win. Now everybody with 6 win get a bowl game, and
Yep.
most importantly,
Wiggity wiggity whack.
and the most important thing of all college football, if you're paying attention, NCAA, all these boosters and all that they run the NCAA. After you had a championship, there should be no more bowl games. That should be the conclusion.
Yes.
Agreed.
Jesus, ain't nobody watching that
Agreed.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
Pop Bowl right after we just
Yeah,
watched the championship.
exactly. At that point, the season's over. Like, why would you have a championship game and then have like 3 additional bowl games at on a Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday night after the champion has already been decided? But that's neither here nor there. Y'all heard the spiel. Y'all know where we at. We'll catch y'all next time. Y'all be easy.